right, let's look at this task here. Issue list. Number of events and users is the same. We have an expected behavior that the columns events and users should show the respective numbers. The current behavior is that they are showing the same numbers, so likely one of them shows the wrong data, either events or users. We can reproduce this error by looking at the development application. So here we are in issues. Here they are showing the same. Let's look at the code. So we have an issue list container, and in the issue list we have an issue row, and each cell, these two cells are showing the same data. Let's look at Figma and see what it might tell us. And yeah, so we can see it's showing different numbers. So we'll look at the code and see what we might be able to find. So we said issue list. So here's our component. We're getting the issues page, and we're extracting the data from the issues page, getting some items. Here's our table. We're mapping over those items and displaying each issue to the screen through this component. So let's look at that component. Here's our row, and we got each data point, and yeah, there's our issue. All right, so let's work on a solution and then come back and discuss what worked. All right, so we are getting a page, and we're making an Axios call with React Query, and that call is being made here. I logged the data to check it out, and what I found was that we have two key values, num events and num users. You'll see 105 and 56, and 105 and 56. So I went back to the row itself, and I extracted out num users from the issue that was coming in, and then displaying it. We also need to make sure that the type is correct, and so the types are coming from issues type. So issues type, I added key values there, num issues and number, and that makes this work. And now we will look at setting up a test for this. So for the test, it says it's the events and users are not accurate. We are making an API call, so we can mock out that API call. I think we can do that, and then we want to iterate find element on the DOM and then check whether that text here equals the JSON data that we have. So before we go, we are getting some issues, pages 1, 2, and 3, and that comes our fixtures. So here are the different fake data. So some of the tests we're gonna see that it renders the issue, that it paginates the issue, that it persists the page after the reload. That's kind of what we want to do. We want to first render it, and it looks like all this test does is just sees that it does have a name, that it does have a message, and etc. So we could also add here that it shows that it does have a num events. And I think what we can do is we can take this and recreate one that not only shows that not that it shows that it has those names, but that the element itself contains the appropriate data. So I think that's what we will work on now. Okay, so here's what we did. We said that it will contain the accurate number of events and users for each issue. We'll travel down to the table. We'll iterate through each element. We will get the mock data. We're going to wrap that element. We're going to, in that element, we'll trickle down to the data, and then we'll get the second to last one. And what we want to know is if that text in that element is the same as our fake data num events. And we'll do the same thing for the very last element in the table data, which is number of users. So I'll save, we'll run the test. I skipped the other ones. So it passed the test. So that's the before. So here we are looking at our issues. We're going to get the main, go down to the body, to the rows. We're going to find that table data. We're going to get that last part, the second to last piece of data, and it should equal 105. It should have text 105, and it does. And then we're going to look at the second to last, or the very last one, and it should have 56. And then each of these are going to go through each of them, and it will go in each of them for just this one page works. So there we go. We made a test that makes sure that our number of issues and number of users is different, and well, not that it's different, but that it matches the fake data. I mean, theoretically, they could be the same, kind of like what we see here in this row here. So we don't want to make sure that they're different. We want to make sure that they accurately represent the data that is coming in.